What's up, guys? It's Gambit, and in today's first Descendant video, we are going to be starting a new series of nothing but lore for all the Descendants that are in the game. The lore does exist. They did put it into these story pages and everything, and let's face it, the campaign did a very poor job of showing and displaying the depth of their story. It was just not very good. It was a pretty generic, cliche campaign, chase the relics before the bad guys get them kind of thing. So it didn't do a very good job, especially of laying out the lore for each individual Descendant. It just kind of talked about what was going on in Ingress versus the Vulgus, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be bringing that to you because, let's face it, in this grindy of a game, nobody really wants to stop and read the lore, even though it's there just behind a couple buttons. They don't do a very good job of advertising it. So if you didn't know this was here, great. Hopefully I get to the Descendant that you would like to find out more about pretty soon in the near future. Hopefully this is refreshing. I've seen some complaints about all the content being, numerous different builds for the Descendants and everybody claiming that it's the best one. But hopefully you guys enjoy this. Alright, so Gley is the Hope Seeker. Super cool character, very popular, one of the best bossers in the game, probably behind Haley now and Lepic. But we're going to kick it off with her exclusive equipment, which is her firearm Massacre. It reads, creating a weapon that suits Gley, the only one who can use RK as well as switch between the genetic structures of humans and magisters, was a serious challenge. The main issue was deciding the basis for the output point, and while both Anais and Descendant suggested creating the weapon based on when she's in human form, Gley was adamantly against it. She wanted a weapon that would allow her to slaughter her enemies. Even if it ate away from her own life, after much wrangling, the output point was set to based on when Gley was in a frenzy. When she finally received the weapon, Gley wordlessly stared at it for a long time before slipping it into her holster and leaving. And then a quote from Gley, I suppose I'll be able to find my daughter once all the Vulgus have been killed. You've probably pieced that part together, at least just when you're in the character selection menu in game, when she says that she's looking for her daughter, Daya. That's kind of her lore, but at the surface level, that's all you get. So it talked a little bit about the frenzied state there, switching between human and magisters. If you don't know what the magisters are, like Anais, they are Vulgus, the scientific division defectors, and they are the ones that bring out the RK in the humans. And then a pretty big story page here. It's a conversation between Daya and herself, and then towards the end it kind of goes into the mission and where everything kind of went south for her. It's super cool. So it reads, if you keep looking after others until the very end, who looks after you, Mom? Daya Elias asked her mother. Until the very end was the slogan of the Albion Medical Corps, and it was the first time that their captain, Gley, faced someone who questioned this slogan, a question that had never been asked by nor asked to someone who had declared and lived by the slogan all of her life. Hearing this question from her own daughter brought about complicated emotions within Gley. But she could not grant her daughter's request to allow her to protect herself. Gley, who had lost her entire family on the battlefield, was afraid. If she were to lose her daughter as well, then she would lose everything. Undeterred by Gley's stubbornness, Daya went to her mother's old colleague and military academy professor, Ajax, for a recommendation letter and thus enlisted in the military. Gley felt betrayed by Ajax, who knew of her past scars and yet still wrote the recommendation letter, refused to even speak to him. Despite feeling much concern over her daughter, who had stubbornly become a soldier in the end, Gley decided to give Daya a chance and trust in her decision, when she would end up regretting that when the incident occurred in which all forces that had been deployed to the Vesper strike operation, including the Descendant squad, suffered massive casualties, with many going MIA. Among those who had gone missing were Gley and her daughter. While Albion headquarters frantically searched for the missing personnel, Gley and Daya were subjected to horrible experiments performed by the Order of Truth. The mother and daughter duo, who were used as test subjects for the Order's experiments to create a new species by injecting Vulgus DNA into human bodies. Gley despaired at her situation, as she could only tremble in anger helplessly as her daughter's agonizing screams echoed around her. When Gley, who had lost consciousness in her rage and despair, came to her senses, she was met with the sight of her adjutant cowering in a corner and completely destroyed the intensive care unit. Regaining her composure, Gley asked, "Where is my daughter?" to which nobody replied. Just as she was about to enter another frenzied state, In her rage, her adjutant shouted, "Her body was never found. She may still be alive, Captain. We're the medical corps, remember? We shouldn't give up until the very end." Hearing this, she felt a warmth around her body. Gley, who had finally calmed down, felt a spark of hope. If Dia was still alive, then she could be saved. As it is the duty of the medical corps to never give up until the very end, Gley picked herself up. Her mission to retrieve her daughter was only beginning. That is pretty awesome. Seeing all of her abilities, you can just imagine what was going on in that intensive care unit with all of the testing going on and everything. There is one piece of lore inside the game and one of the records as well. We'll flash over there real quick and see what that one is. It is labeled Gley's Regret. I know I can't blame Ajax. Instead, I know I should be grateful for him actively helping me out. Even so, when I see his face, I'm reminded of Dia. For better or worse, Ajax, it was a competent instructor and a skilled teacher. Under his tutelage, Dia blossomed as a soldier, and yet I blame him for his aptitude because my heart is broken, filled with selfish and vile thoughts, and this is why I find his competence unfortunate. No, what's unfortunate is my inability to save Dia. His competence is a stark contrast on my incompetence. My mistakes on that day, my mistakes at that moment, my own misery are projected onto him. Ajax, you foolish man. On the day I get Dia back, I'll apologize to you for everything. Until then, please accept my resentment. So, kind of a cool link there between Descendants, between Gley and Ajax, that they, work together, military academy and all that kind of stuff, and he's kind of the reason that the daughter was in the wrong place at the wrong time, all that kind of stuff. So it's cool to see links drawn between the different Descendants. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this video and learning a little bit more about Gley and what she's talking about when she's talking about her beloved daughter Dia from the character selection menu, things like that. But this is going to be the first of a series if this one does well. Hopefully if you enjoyed it, hit that like, subscribe, and look out for the next one. Let me know in the comments which Descendants you would like next. I might do Lepic, he's pretty popular. Haley's new, might go ahead and throw that one in the mix pretty early. Yeah, really cool lore if they would just do something with it. I really hope they explore doing some more of the character-specific missions, kind of like Bunny has and Freyna just got, that kind of thing. So let me know if this is something that you guys like to see, and I will catch you on the next one. Appreciate it, guys.